Welcome students to lesson 2, steps 8 through 10, hook strategies. Hook strategies are methods of hooking your reader's attention. It is very important to know who your audience is in order to be able to effectively hook their attention. To the right, I'm going to reveal 4 or 5 different strategies for doing that. So the first strategy that you see here is personal anecdote or compelling statement. In this particular strategy, you begin with a micro story from your life that is directly connected to your thesis statement. You can use statistical data, citing credible evidence that is directly related to your thesis statement. You can paint a picture or a visualization. For example, you're sitting at the dinner table looking at everyone's plate when you realize, something like that. You can use a moving quote chosen from literature or a well-respected person that is relevant to what you're talking about. You can also use metaphor or simile. This strategy is somewhat related to painting a picture, but isn't exactly the same. You can use a metaphor when painting a picture, but you don't have to be painting a picture when using a metaphor. So there's that. So starting step 8, the hook, hooking your audience's attention. This sentence is appearing at the very top of your paper. I chose the personal anecdote as my strategy. I began with a compelling statement. We learn many things at the dinner table, to include how differently people eat. So why write the first sentence almost last in your response piece? It's easier to introduce content that you've already written. I have coached a lot of writing assignments as a teacher, and one of the main reason why I placed this step 8th was because every single time we write in my classroom, I would say 90% of the time anyway, 90% of the time or more, students have to revert back to the intro that they wrote to switch it up for the content that came later in the essay. So it's kind of hard to introduce content that you haven't quite nailed down yet. It's easier to introduce a thesis statement and topic sentence and evidence that you've already come up with. Now here in step 9, you will see the link, which is the transition from your hook to the point you're making in your thesis statement. I began with a compelling statement, which led to my personal anecdote that transitions the reader right into my thesis statement. So the link is highlighted in yellow, and this sentence specifically exists to transition your reader from the hook strategy that you used to your thesis statement. So this is the same setup I used to show you step 7 in the first video. And again, the purple is the mixture between the red and the blue. So the link transitions from your hook to the point you're making in your thesis statement. This sentence only exists to smoothly transition the reader from the hook to the thesis. So if you can see the colors, you will notice that the very first sentence is highlighted in red, the thesis statement is highlighted in blue, and step 9 is highlighted in purple because it is the mixture of the hook and the thesis. We learn many things at the dinner table, to include how differently people eat. I can't stay healthy eating half the ingredients I include in dinner meals for my own children, items like bread and cow's milk. That statement basically is a clarifier for the first sentence. Every person's nutritional needs are different. That basically narrows down the point of everything I said in those first two steps, in those first two sentences, steps 8 and 9. So what's your point? Here, your listener, your reader wants you to tie it up and to finish. Your final thought is what you want your listener to walk away with. What is the overall big picture? Step 10 is the time that you pass some final judgment and or call your reader to some action. And it reads, instead of looking at someone else's plate for what is nutritious, individuals should begin listening to their own bodies. And that is the final step of creating your written response. Make sure to go back to view any slides that you need to rewatch for clarification. That's the end of lesson 2. And in the next video, I will show you how I meet minimum word requirements.